Hey, New Life. My name is Austin Albert. I am the tech director here at New Life, and just wanted to take a few minutes to share a time recently that Jesus did a miracle in my life, something that really just can't be explained otherwise. So I got married this past April, and had gotten engaged in November of 2021. And I just want to share the story of how I met my wife, which really is a miracle. So prior to like late June, July of last year of 21, I had been just trying out the online dating thing for a little while. Had done it early last year and then the previous year, really, and I'm grateful for this, with no success. I know that that's worked for a lot of people. I know people that that's worked for, and that's fantastic. But for me, and I think this is just the Lord's providence and care, it didn't, and nothing came of it. Went on a couple dates and it just didn't work out, So did that, and then to be honest, really just kind of grew frustrated with it and was like, well, clearly this isn't working out. And so I kind of came to a place where I was like, okay, Jesus, I'm just going to at least take a break from this for a while, because it's frustrating and tiring and just nothing's happening, and that's fine. And I remembered having done counseling with Angel Beeson for a few years. Remembered a time in one of those sessions where she had said, well, talking about the online dating thing, she said, well, you could you just keep doing that and leave it as an open door. And if the Lord wants to bring you someone through that, that's great. Or you could just say, well, Jesus, you kind of just got to drop her in my lap, which I don't necessarily recommend for everyone. But for me, I kind of came to that point where I was like, well, Jesus, you're going to just have to drop her in my lap. And so that was mid to late June of last year. And so to back up a bit, to give some context here, there was a guy named Brian Baker who had served in youth ministry here years and years ago. It had to have been 4 or 5 years at least since he had served here with our previous youth pastor. Super great guy. He and my dad actually got to be friends because they were both serving in, I believe it was junior high school at the time. I forget which ones they were in. They had gone to camp together as camp counselors, and they were friends, and they've been friends all these years. They would occasionally, kind of reconnect and chat, once or twice a year, I think. And both of them are in kind of construction cabinetry, and so they would, compare notes every so often, like, hey, how do I install this bathtub or toilet or whatever? Those are the ones I heard about. And so, mid-June last year, I had kind of come to this point, and I didn't really tell anyone this. I don't even think I told my parents at the time, of saying, hey, Jesus, you're just going to have to drop her in my lap. I'm taking a break. I'm stepping back. I'm surrendering this to you. I believe it was later that week. It was within a week. Brian reached out to my dad out of nowhere, just sent him a message on Instagram and said, hey, is Austen still single? To which my dad was like, okay. Replied, of course, yeah, he is. And he's, I don't remember exactly what was said. I have to look back. But essentially Brian then says, hey, would he be interested in going out with my sister? And we were like, wow, we didn't know Brian had a sister. And so one thing led to another. She and I met the following weekend, I think it was, after texting a little bit. Went out on our first date that next week. And here we are, a year later from the day I proposed and married. And so the even cooler part about this is, that's fantastic on its own. Praise Jesus. Thank you for that. On her end, almost the exact same thing had happened. And I didn't find this out until a few months into dating, but she'd had a few bad relationships previously, and she had gotten out of that about a year prior, I think. And she came to a point also of saying, Jesus, I really want to get married and all that, but here you go. I'm surrendering this to you. I'm just going to give up on this, or put this on pause, however you want to say it. And then it was within about the same time that Brian just had this thought out of nowhere, thank you, Jesus, to set the two of us up. How he remembered me, I don't know. It had been years since we had seen each other, but now he's my brother-in-law. So there's that. So I just share that as an encouragement to you all that God's at work behind the scenes, preparing things, whether that's relationships or work or just life in general. He's got things going on that you don't know about. He's preparing you for and preparing other people for. But also in the context of relationships, and again, not to discount online dating in any sense, but just trust him with, for those of you who are single, just trust him with your future spouse, that he has a plan, knows what he's doing, and is preparing you for it. And for decisions in general, just trust him, surrender, and act where you need to, but let him take care of that. So that is my story, my testimony this week. Hopefully this isn't too long. Hope you all have a great week.